Hello world, this is Logan, and I just wanted to put a quick video together to show you all how to use this self-signed-ssl bash utility. So this is a utility that is just a wrapper around OpenSSL, and it simplifies the creation of certificate authorities, signing requests, and signing your own certificates. So in this video, we'll walk through the steps to install the utility. We will create a trusted certificate authority for our local machine, and then we will sign a certificate using that certificate authority, and then we will demonstrate that that certificate works using a local instance of NGINX on Docker. So first things first, we can come here to tap the brew tap, and then we can install the package. And for Linux users and other operating systems, we also have a curl command defined here that you can use to download the script. So here we have the package now. Let's verify it's installed by running self-signed-ssl, and there it's prompting us for the first value, but we'll exit out for now. So the first thing we want to demonstrate is creating a certificate authority. So here we are specifying that we only want to create a certificate authority, and additionally that we want to trust it. So let's run this. And so it'll prompt me for the values. So I'll just fill these out. So I'll say US. And I'll skip a couple of these, but here for the common name, this value is required. So I'm going to call this local CA. And then we don't need to worry about the alternative names yet. And I'll ignore the email address as well. And you'll notice that it prompts me for my password, and that's because this is going to install the certificate authority to my keychain, so it needs sudo permissions. So I'm going to give it my password. And if I look in my directory, you'll see now we have a CA key and a CA PEM. And if we look in my keychain, we should see that it's installed, and here it is, local CA. So next we want to create a we want to create a signed certificate using the CA that we just generated. So if we come back here, we can say self-signed-ssl, and we can specify the key to be ca.key and the CA certificate to be ca.pem. And now it will prompt us for the required values for our certificate. And I'll use some of the same values, and I'll ignore the organization, but for the common name, I'm going to say test.local. And then in subject alternative names, this is where you can specify subdomains, etc. So you could say www.test.local, but just for simplicity of being able to use it however I need locally, I'm going to use a wildcard. So I'll say star.test.local. And again, I will ignore the email address. And you'll see now it has created our test.local.certs. So now to demonstrate that this is actually working, I'm going to I have this simple Docker file here using the latest NGINX container image. And I have a simple default configuration that says to intercept on port 80 and 443. But before we get there, let's spin it up just to make sure that Docker is working. So I will say Docker compose up, and I like to run Docker compose in detached mode. And I'll do a Docker logs on that just to make sure everything's okay. And now if I go to 127.0.0.1 port 80, we in fact do have an NGINX container up and running. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncomment these volume mounts. And so what this is doing is binding the current directory to this etc nginx files directory, and then it is also binding this local default.conf to the nginx default.conf. And again, here you'll see that we have a server listening on port 443 for SSL, and we are specifying where to reference our SSL certificate and key here. So now that we've uncommented those, let's update our container with another Docker compose up. And then also we can make sure that the test.local is defined in our 127.0.0.1 IP in our host file. So that's there. And now just to make sure that everything's working, I'm going to restart Chrome. That's also good to do once you generate and trust a new certificate authority. But now instead of 127.0.0.1, we can now navigate to test.local. And you'll see that now took us to that same NGINX welcome page. But now the real test here is if HTTPS is working. And yes, it is. And if you look here in the security tab, we can view the certificate. And for some reason it's telling me it's not trusted here, but I can easily update that. But it is pulling through my certificate, and there's no complaint from Chrome. So that is how to use the self-signed-ssl bash utility to generate a certificate authority and to sign a certificate with that authority. You can check out all the different options we have here. There's a couple for certificate authorities. You can generate a signing request on its own if you need to, and automate everything by specifying these subject variables here. If you have any ideas or feedback, I would love to hear from you, so please feel free to post in this issues page here. Thank you for watching, and I'll have a nice day.